It's the gift-giving season, and we have a gift for you. Visit us online at KBLA.store for holiday savings of 20% off all of our KBLA swag. For the best in merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store right now. And be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all our official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, at 20% off, but only during the holiday season. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
I'm sending this one out to that special someone. That girl that's really down for you. She never see me without her. You know what I mean? She's like that lucky rabbit's foot. Or some kind of good luck charm or something like that.
Every time that something good happens in my life, you're always there for me, looking good by my side. Picture you now pulling up your pantyhose, and you always got that sexy underwear on. So much good has come my way since you came in my life. I'll never push you away or brush you off to the side. See, girl, I see my luck has changed for the better. See, I got so much love for you in these arms. Till you should know my good love charm.
We had to vibe a little bit to that Jagged Edge. Happy Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to Jagged Edge, Lucky Charm. Feel like, I'm not even going to lie and try and tell you I know which album that was on, surprisingly. Third album, right? I think it was third album. Don't know what year. I'm going to say maybe 2005, 2006. 2006. Okay. All right. Okay, self-titled Jagged. Was it the third? Let's see. It is? Okay. I'm pretty good. You know we like to. No, it's not. It's the fifth. Wow. Okay. I didn't realize Jagged Edge had that many albums. That's solid. Okay. All right, J.E. I think J.E. Heartbreak was probably my favorite Jagged Edge album. Maybe the first.
So the first album was a Jagged Error.
Yeah.
Then you had J.E. Heartbreak.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite.
Then you had Jagged Little Thrill.
I remember that.
Then you had Hard.
Hard. I do remember. Okay, so yeah.
And then the Jagged Edge self-titled album.
Okay. Wow. All right, shout out to Jagged Edge. J.E. I definitely love the 90s and that music. But listen, it's looking like we are not going to be able to look back on You know what? Let me roll backwards. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. If I did not say that, let me say it again. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week, and as always, we have a lot to talk about with you this evening. First up, make sure you're following us on all social media, KBLA 1580. Hit me up at Stiletto Jill. That's mandatory. If you want to call in and get in on any of these topics we're discussing tonight, 800-920-1580. Now, let me tell you what the topics are that we're discussing tonight. We are going to get into, Russell Simmons was one of the first of the hip-hop era, I feel, to be hit with sexual assault allegations. It's been a couple of years since that initially happened. We know that there were a couple, and we know that there was another one that came up most recently with the New York cases. And up till now, he hasn't said much. We know he left the country, moved to Bali, and, disconnected with his family. Well, he's addressed those 2017 allegations in an interview for, I think, maybe the first time. So we're going to get into that and hear what he had to say. We're also going to be, Diddy was hit with another case today. This one with photographs and, more questions. But Diddy has broken his silence in reference to this. So we're going to get into that. We are also going to get into something interesting that is developing in the YSL trial in Atlanta. There's a stream of certain aspects of the trial. And the stream caught some of the jury members the other day. The jury wasn't told, I don't believe. But somehow they have discovered it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and what it means to be on a high-profile trial in the social media era, especially one that has deep ties and connections like this. I mean, it could be something that we see again, maybe not in New York where most of these cases are filed, as I don't believe that particular court allows cameras, but, in general, you never know. We're also going to get into 50 Cent. He says that he is going to produce a documentary on the bad boy era, Diddy, and all of these allegations, with proceeds from it going to sexual assault survivors and to assist them in that manner. Sounds good, but is he being sincere or just trolling his enemy in a bad spot? We're going to talk about that. We're going to get into, a little two baby mamas seeing each other. I don't mean to say it like that because they're more than that. But Dominique Perry and Keke Palmer, they have shouted each other out on social media. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to look back at Usher's residency as it has come to a close as we get ready for the Super Bowl. And of course, more trending topics and headlines. We also know that it is Wednesday. And Wednesday, that means that we have a guest contributor in the building, Trent Jackson, Trent the artist. We're going to hear his opinion on absolutely everything, because he is our Keep It Real friend. And I know he has some reality to bring to RSVP this evening, as always. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here's to a holiday season full of peace, joy, and happiness. Happy Kwanzaa from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580. Environmental justice, pollution, and climate. In Los Angeles and across America, people of color are suffering and dying from disproportionate health impacts on a planet that has less than 10 years to prevent irreversible damage. Heat illnesses, respiratory illnesses, water-related illnesses, food system impacts, insect-related diseases, Black maternal health, and mental health effects. As the impacts of climate change mount, millions of vulnerable people, our people, are going to bear the brunt of these extreme environmental events, which will likely lead to forced displacement, loss of cultural identity, and other related risks. These realities are as real as rain. Stay tuned to KBLA Talk 1580 for more details about the most progressive multimedia and live events campaign any Black media outlet has ever undertaken to combat the climate catastrophe. Experts, events, empowerment. It's all on the way from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We don't black down. We level up.
Level up, 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 level up.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, we still have a couple of conversation starters before we get into the main event. These are topics that we don't necessarily have the time to go fully into, but I feel that you need to be aware because we are always ahead of the curve here. So when people come and tell you about it, you'll be like, heard about that on RSVP a long time ago. So a former Jacksonville Jaguars employee, his name is Amit Patel, has been accused of stealing more than $22 million from the franchise using a virtual credit card program. His purchases reportedly include 2 vehicles, a condo, a $95,000 designer watch, cryptocurrency, and betting on online gambling sites. Now listen, I hear you. You saw a hustle. You thought you could beat it. Why do people do things like that at their places of employment and think that they're going to get away with it? What sense does that make? You bought a whole house on a virtual credit card.
Are you asking me to respond right now?
I'm asking
Okay.
your opinion. Yeah, I'm wondering.
On the heels of what I just told you off air about the acquisition of a home, like scam it the right way, baby. Okay, but here's the thing. You know what this is? I'm gonna make it very simple for you and very plain. Okay, this person that did this is a man, right?
I believe so. Yes.
This is the same young man at 6 years old who went into the candy store and stole the Snickers bar and then gets socked up his head and say this is wrong and we don't do this. And he wasn't corrected at 6 and he kept on making big mistakes throughout his life and now we're here. This is what we're dealing with. So when your 6-year-old child, like me, trying to pick up the candy and not pay for it, I got bopped in my head and explained, this is not what you do. And you walk back to the counter and in
correction. 2020, okay, so I'm with you on correction.
Yes.
I do believe that. I do believe that we have gotten away from that because it's feelings over facts.
Yes.
We often say facts over feelings, but I really believe it's feelings over facts where we are. But you can't be talking about bopping kids in the head. You
Well,
just
not in the
can't.
head. You know
You
what I'm
just
saying?
can't
But like,
say that, right?
it's not really like a
We're
bop
not
in the head, but
allowed
it's
to
like
say that.
Hey, a smack in the
I
on
know,
the
I
hand
know.
or something like
I'm-
that. Like, come on.
I know I'm being like
Now, when they get 18, it's a different story.
No, it's a different story when they're 6.
When they get grown, but at
Andy?
6, no, you correct them in a 6-year-old way. You know?
That's the problem with today's society. These kids need to get bopped. I'm sorry.
And I do understand
And not in the
that
head,
feeling.
but like they need a smacking,
I mean,
or understood that they can get snatched up for, the ramifications of not following particular guidelines. Because if I don't do it at home, the streets are going to do it, and the police are dang sure going to do it.
I believe in that too, but I don't think that currently we talk a lot about things and where things went wrong as far as generations and parenting and ideas. And in an effort of overcorrection, right? Because some parents probably did take it too far back in the day.
Yes, and
right?
a lot of parents did for sure.
But you know, I do think that have you seen the online movement where people talk about bring back shame and things of that nature?
I've seen some of that. Some of the stuff is like, come on, get rid of it. But a lot of the stuff that we've kind of tweaked and allowed to just kind of pass are some of the very things that, you know, brought us here. But going back to the point, when you have a person who's that, you know, arrogant and egotistical, where I'm going to make a I'm going to scam the scam, and you're going to come with the biggest scam of all time. It's like, no, you're not, because guess what? You are always going to get caught. That's the main thread of all these stories. You are always going to get caught, no matter what. It might take a little time, but you're going to get caught.
A condo? Like, were you living?
They're coming to get you.
In the
They're coming right there.
I don't see the common sense in that.
It's arrogance. It is, I can get away with any. It's privilege on the highest scale. It's disgusting privilege. I can get away. I have been getting away. I will continue to get away. And what are you going to do about it? That is his attitude.
And clearly, that's
because a condo, a car, like, stop. I mean, come on. Most people stop at, like, you know, let's see, I don't know, dinner, you know, maybe a purse or something like that.
A little vacation or something, you know,
an extra dinner at the you know, something like something.
I'm gonna upgrade my company phone.
Yeah, it's in the means of scammery, right? Not anything outrageous. We're not doing white collar crimes here. We're not going down in the clank. We're not doing all that. Keep it under, what is it, $5,000.
I mean, I know that they had it, I think, on A&E or something, or TLC for a minute, but I feel like they need to bring back Scared Straight.
Yes.
And maybe bring it back for adults. Because let me tell you, I remember when Scared Straight was just a special as a kid.
I loved it.
And when I saw that, I was like,
see, and
I'm never doing anything wrong.
My mother worked for the police department when I was growing up, so that was the Scared Straight. I lived with it. So it was like, if you ever do anything and you get arrested at my job, I'm not coming to get you, and please don't embarrass me at work. And that was my thought, as you know, as your mom works at the police department. So
my thought was just, I don't want to go to
no, she was like, I'm not coming to get you. I'm not coming to get you. Don't get no ideas. Don't embarrass me at work. And that was the thought. So I never got in trouble, not even so much as a ticket. I did not need anybody saying anything to her. Oh, nope.
Didn't want that. See? Embarrassment,
yeah.
Shame. Thomas Outlaw says, if you scam a church, shame on you. If you scam a mom and pop shop, shame on you. If you scam the Jackson Jaguars, I will buy you a drink. Okay, I get it. I heard you.
Yeah.
You know, you feel they can afford it. And I understand.
And you have to think about it, too. Some people have... I talked to a scammer one day, and I said, you know, why scam? And, you know, their mentality is they have enough money and insurance, they're going to get it back anyway once, you know, they prove. So
that's usually what you hear.
And the second argument to that was, how did they get the money in the first place? It was probably a scam. So this is just, you know, retribution for the scam that they did to us first.
It's just the scam continuing the scam, and that's how it goes on.
Dog eat dog, scavenger world.
Like those sewing circles and susus from the pandemic.
Exactly. Stay away from me with that.
Listen, you know, it's funny, and not funny, but in talking about scammers, because someone hit up and was talking about the City Girls on Twitter, X, and they said, yeah, you know, what happened to the City Girl lifestyle? They all want to be homemakers and they're sitting home, whatever, right?
Well, we knew Hot Girl Summer was a scam.
But listen, JT responded and said, who said City Girl lifestyle came from a man? I'm a scammer. So
you know
she's like, you guys misconstrued the whole thing to begin with.
Listen, that's that Miami
and
life.
Obviously I scammed you because you're still worried about
it. Well, we know now we're starting to see that some of these people are, you know, the whole
facade.
It's all the scam. And as consumers, being a consumer is probably one of the biggest scams.
What do you mean by that?
Because it's all fake. I was just explaining to somebody today. I was like, you know, here's the thing. People they move to LA all the time with these big hopes and these dreams. And I was like, LA is fake. It's not a real place. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, it exists, but it's not a real place. I was like, you and I was talking to a college mate. I was like, you and I, we went to school to create TV and film. Okay. So we know that ultimately it's based on something, but it's not really real. Right. So if you have a whole entire town whole industry is based on something that's not real. Okay. What do you think is going on in the town?
I think that by extension.
Not real stuff.
No. Okay. I mean, yes, but
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. I think it's cyclical, right?
It is.
Because it also is taking its inspiration from what is happening in real life, right?
In real time.
And we see in many instances, real life is much, much stranger than some of those things that they put together on the screen.
Which is why it's all changing now.
And so it is things are changing and adapting. But do you think, as we're seeing this, right, I think every industry and maybe every era, I've talked about it before. I made a lot of comparisons between the hip hop era and the 70s era of rock bands and those, stars. And they went through something similar during Me Too, before Me Too. You think about the early groupie movement with them. There was a magazine in 1972 that featured the groupies that followed around rock stars. But spoiler alert, most of these girls were like 13, 14, 16 years old, but they were featured in this magazine. Not unlike where we have found ourselves at certain points of hip hop with the video vixens and the rappers and the females and the hypersexualized imagery. And now we're, spinning the block like, hey, we knew it wasn't all the right way then, and that we were pushing the envelope, but it felt rebellious. Now, I guess with new eyes or 2020 vision, it looks like something else, depending upon the conversations
and who you ask, because it's like and you're right, a lot of that was when the lifestyle was really glorified as a groupie, and it was like the thing.
It was exciting. It was glamorous.
And it was two sides of it. The people that just went along with it and, traveled, but also people who signed up for it knowing what it was. Okay.
Facts.
And we have those same things now, and I was just, the same conversation that I had with my college mate earlier. It's like, what's going on in the background. You know what's going on there, and you know why you came, because you've heard about the whispers. And the thing is, it's like there's a fine line. It's like knowing when to leave the party. Do you have a glass of wine or do you get drunk? Because you can't do both.
Oh, you know me. You know what I'm doing.
Right. And you have to know when to leave the party, because at a certain point, the party's going to get a little strange.
That is one thing
I
will say.
And at a certain point, you become a participant because you know what's going on at a certain point. And it's
in a way, yeah. You
do.
Mean, you can't. The
vibe changes, and it's like, I gotta go. It's a little weird.
I mean, I always, and sometimes I remember. I can tell you that I would have friends, male friends, rappers or whatever. Time for the good girls to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good night, and would send us on our way, right? And sometimes you'd be like, "What's up?" No. It's not that type of thing.
Yeah, and people know who's down and who's not. Like it's all about reading the room, and it's a fine line. And here's the difference: when you're a participant and when you sign up for it and you actively engage, and you can't come back 20 years later and change your story when you engaged, because at a certain point. After one or two times, what the standard is and what's expected and how it goes down. So you become an active participant. It's knowing when to leave the room, and it's knowing the difference between having a glass of wine and the whole bottle.
And here's the thing. I agree with you, but people will push back and counter and say, listen, if I feel like my job is on the line or my future in this industry, what should I do? Right? And, I've heard these conversations. I've never seen them in action about participating. Not saying that they didn't happen. It's usually on the other side, if that makes sense.
I'll just use myself as an example. I've been in a situation where partying was the norm. You had to go. You had to go.
You do have to be.
It was a part of it.
You do have to be social.
You had to go, and if you didn't go, it was a problem. But again, no one to leave the room, no one to leave the party. Now, here is the difference between what happens to me and with most people that I didn't engage in. I didn't participate. I didn't want to participate. I was yanked into the participation, forced into the participation, and that becomes a difference. I didn't participate. I was pulled into it and forced. So that's when it becomes an issue, when you're forced into it. And a lot of people are forced.
Were you questioned if you were forced or if you were participating and changed your mind? Because I think that is what happens with a lot. And here's the thing. Are we comfortable? And I think we should be, but I don't know what degree, with people changing their mind when they reflect.
Yeah.
Or at least changing how it made them feel, or being honest about that.
And here's the funny part about that. I was very clear about, no, I'm not doing, this is not a party that I'm joining tonight, or in the daytime. But when everybody is watching it happen and you see like all the players are in on it, it's like, girl, what are we doing here? Wait a second. And then you look at somebody and they're like, and I'm like, okay. So somebody else sees what's happening here. Got it. All right. Long as I know that I'm not crazy here, I know what I need to do.
Go home.
Go home. And stay home. And if you keep getting called back, you have your attorney call him and have him talk.
Good night. Mm-hmm. Have an awesome night.
Because you got to know when to leave.
Absolutely.
And it's not, I'm like, and it's a very fine line. And, sure, curiosity kills a cat. 1 time, sure. 2 times, all right. 3 times
it's a choice.
Yeah. 3 times is like, you in there, bro, ma'am.
You're looking for something.
You in there, and now you have it's different. However, the caveat is when you are under the guise, you get tricked into dating somebody, okay, and then all the mess comes into it, because it's like, wait a minute. Didn't sign up for this, buddy.
Can't you just break up? I'm asking.
You can, but what if you getting gang stalked? And what if you sitting at work and then somebody come bust in with a firearm and just capture you and take you? Then what? What we doing here, Hakeem?
When we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines. We're going to get into exactly what Russell Simmons had to say about those 2017 allegations, plus more updates on Diddy, Fiddy, and how Rick Ross was dropped in the mix as well. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Without you in my life, my whole future ain't the same. And I'm not one to complain, baby. I've been around, tired of messing around, got so much love. See, I got so much love. Here these arms, no, baby, you know I do. Baby, yes I do. And nobody else, no. I got so much love for you, yeah. Don't you know you're my good luck? Baby, you've been my good luck, yeah. Never do I know. Oh. And I throw away this ice and give up my J.E. pieces just to get a piece of your love forever.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A Black Chicago teen has earned her doctorate at Arizona State University. 17-year-old Dorothy Tillman already has her high school diploma, her bachelor's, a double master's, and now her doctorate. She says her goal is to create a space for the sake of future generations. Tillman created the Dorothy Genius STEAM Leadership Institute. The group focuses on science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Eric Adams is getting the lowest approval rating for New York City mayor since Quinnipiac started polling voters in 1996. According to the poll, only 28% of voters approve of the job Adams is doing, down from 37% in February. New Yorkers' top concerns are affordable housing and crime, followed by immigration, homelessness, and inflation. As the FBI investigates the mayor's 2021 campaign, 22% of voters think he did something illegal, while another 30% believe he did something unethical. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? Call the accident guys. Because unlike other firms, an attorney will negotiate your case, not a paralegal.
It's the gift-giving season, and we have a gift for you. Visit us online at KBLA.store for holiday savings of 20% off all of our KBLA swag. For the best in merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store right now. And be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all our official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580, at 20% off, but only during the holiday season. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
This open enrollment season, LA Care Covered is offering health plans starting at $0 a month. Each plan provides benefits including $0 preventive services, 24/7 telehealth services, around-the-clock nurse advice lines, walk-in minute clinics, and more. Shop and compare premium silver plans with $0 deductibles to help meet your health goals. Ready to shop? Visit us online at lacarecovered.org for a commitment-free instant quote, or speak with us directly at 855-222-4239. LA Care Covered, your affordable path to wellness.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment through the arts. Tia Chucha Central Cultural is on a mission to transform community in the Northeast San Fernando Valley and beyond through ancestral knowledge, the arts, literacy, and creative engagement. The Northeast San Fernando Valley has a population of about 500,000, the size of the city of Oakland, yet it has no bookstores, art galleries, or full-fledged cultural spaces until Tia Chuchas opened its doors in 2001. Founded by renowned poet and activist Luis Rodriguez, Tia Chuchas Cultural Center provides a year-round free or low-cost arts and literacy bilingual intergenerational programming in mural painting, music, dance, writing, visual arts, healing art sessions, and healing talking circles. Activities also include Mexica, Aztec dance, indigenous cosmology, philosophy, and 2 weekly open mic nights, one in Spanish, the other in English. In addition, they host author readings, film screenings, and art exhibits. To express yourself, heal yourself, attend an event, or volunteer, please visit www.tiachucha.org. That's TIACHUCHA.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. Get them crossing the line today. The hate be so real, the love be fake. Be bumping they gums and bumping my tape. Don't go against me, they ask for my help. Go get out your feelings and get it yourself. Might got the same shoes, but you ain't gon' step. That that you just put out, you could've kept. Yup, she got a he got a shirt. Why? You can't compete when you can't compare. Period. She ate the through my underwear. Got up and got herself out of there. I see they put me on memes and things. Don't speak on my life without knowing the real. 8 figures a year, what it cost me to live. Don't hold it, just say what you feel. But watch your mouth before I fly at your word. To a place that you didn't know exists. Mediterranean water my wrist. Keeping them pissed how I'm talking my 6-figure check for a show, man, I'm lit. Let's celebrate now, my bag legit. These with me with whatever I'm with. Didn't know who did it, got everybody hit. I don't like nobody. We can get gangster, we can keep it cordial. How you want to go back?
That's what I'm saying. How you want to go about it? You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me know.
Let me know right now. What's up?
It's so funny. I came at somebody like that last week. Yikes. Kind of intense.
Listen, have you seen, probably not appropriate to bring this movie up considering all the things that we're going through right now in the world, but have you ever seen The Mac?
No.
You've never seen The Mac?
No.
You have to watch The Mac. It is a black cinematic classic movie.
It's from like when?
1972, okay. 1973,
right.
Something like that.
All right.
It's about pimping.
Maybe it's on Tubi.
It probably is on Tubi.
Are we going to review?
We have to get back to our... Listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, because we're into the holiday swing now. Yeah. I don't really know if we're realistically going to make it. Top of the year, we're back on our Tubi stuff.
Yeah, if not before.
If not before.
I'm looking to see where it's where I can find
The Mac.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring it up is because The Mac in it.
Oh, I have seen pieces of this. Not the full thing though, but pieces of it.
And
yes.
Richard Pryor's in it.
Yes. I remember one of the scenes. Just from this guy in his hat.
And so
he's funny.
He says that. He says
he's Max Julian.
Yeah. He says that in the movie, we can handle this like some gentlemen or we can get into some gangster. Beep.
Yeah.
And I felt that was a very poignant moment for me that I was like, yeah.
Oh, I need to work.
Yeah.
This is on Amazon. I'll watch this weekend with my mom.
Pretty Tony also shared, or did Max Julian share this to Pretty Tony? I can't remember. They were having a debate over, Don't Be Mad, Your Chick Chose Me.
These names are funny.
And because it was pimping, baby, pimping and pimping. That good Bay Area pimping.
They're standing on town business.
Man, they're standing on business. He was like, you got to get these chicks' minds, man. And that always stood out to me too. And I was like, yep. That is what they do. They try to get in there and lock in on your mental and mess things all up and make you crazy.
Yeah, see.
Shout out to Urban Spinster. The Mac soundtrack is fire too, Willie Hutch. It really is. Like it.
Oh, the Urban Spinster.
Inappropriate, especially, I guess, in current times, right? We know it's from the Black exploitation era, the very early aspect of it, but such a great film. I like it.
I'll give you a report next week when I come back.
Thank you very much. I would appreciate it. All right, so let's get into Russell Simmons, right?
Oh, I really forgot that he moved out of the country.
It's been about 6 years.
I like when people do that. There's all this scandal, and it's like, just leave. Like, boy, come on, what are you here for? Like, something OJ should have done. Like, you just go. You can always, like, sneak back on the low. Yeah.
Just flee. So Russell, he continues to deny the allegations from 2017. We know Drew Dixon accused him. We know, I think the documentary that was made was called On the Record, that went into certain
Drew
allegations from
Dixon, isn't that the same girl who accused
L.A. Reid? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Huh.
So, and here's the thing. It's not surprising to me in some ways that could happen. Because, and I know people don't like to hear this, and I don't know if it means much, but, well, I mean, I talked about it. The 90s to hip hop, right? Or the urban music scene kind of as a whole. It's a very different overall, I think, just attitude and approach to a lot of things, especially involving men and women, and what was appropriate, what was okay, what was left over from the older generations that we had sort of shed or embraced and tried to flip in a different way. So.
Yeah, and see, something that you always say is ringing clear in my head now, and it's always had an alternate meaning.
They love a referral.
They love a referral. And
people always talk about.
And here's the dark side of that. It's like, yeah, it's true that they love a referral, but it's just like a job. Don't think for a second if you've got, Arista on your resume that Clive is not getting ready to call up, Def Jam and say, oh, you work with such and such, and they're having a conversation about, and come on.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Yes.
That is facts. That is very much facts.
It's not far-fetched that, you've got one creep calling another creep, having a conversation about an old employee, and,
Or, so there's that, right?
Yeah.
Or there's the other aspect of it, right? There are certain environments that thrived at certain, labels, companies, or whatever, right? And if you are in that environment and you do not like it, you are probably not going to be able to turn around and go to this
and get
company company thing and enjoy it either, right? I'm not even talking about from whatever information may come down the pike. I just mean that, there are certain companies, certain situations that you might not have at that time period or later. You either are comfortable in certain environments in certain ways, or you are not. And if you are not, it's going to be a hard time for you to get on at work. Even if no one's necessarily doing anything to you, you are still in an environment that could be extremely uncomfortable, depending upon how you move in your background.
Yes.
I say this as a woman that worked in hip hop.
Yes.
In the 90s, that not frequently, but there were definitely moments where I was the only girl. There are also times when I was where I was the only black person or the only black woman. So, it was a different era. And there definitely were moments where you had to be on your P's and Q's. So listen, Russ says, right, he did an interview in depth with Graham Biesinger, and it hasn't dropped yet, but it will be out in a couple of days. And today, several clips from it were released, right? And so Russ is 66 at this point. Did we realize he was that old? I mean, not like that. I shouldn't say it like that, but
no,
I don't know if I realized
not like
he
that.
was,
But yeah, no one thinks of Russell Simmons as a 66-year-old. Like, that's prime art membership,
right? So he said, I've never been violent to anybody. Of course, I've been insensitive, but certainly never been forceful in any of my relationships, all of which have been consensual, right? He goes on to say that the Me Too movement is a great movement, but he also said that it was obviously filmed in Indonesia in September, and it's going to broadcast in syndication. And when we come forward, we will talk about why he said he hasn't spoken about this or to anyone in reference to this in 5 years. So we'll get into all of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Happy Kwanzaa from unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Day one, the hardest day. The day you hear,
"This is a type of blood cancer."
but day one is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day one.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
To learn more and get help on day 2, day 28, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572.
Did you know there's a way to outsmart COVID if you get it? Now there are medicines that can treat COVID, whether or not you've been vaccinated, which is great news, especially if you're over 50. If taken in the first 5 days of having symptoms, COVID medicines can help stop the illness from getting serious. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to learn more about COVID medicines. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
All right, so there we were, cruising through the new open-air zoo, when I realized that the park was closing in like 15 minutes. Luckily, we were in my Nissan Rogue. With its powerful VC turbo engine, well, we had time to see all the animals. Whoa! And outrun a few!
Drive the Nissan Rogue.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with Kate Luzio, former banking executive and now owner of Luminary, who partnered with Chase for this tour. She makes it her business to build community for business owners.
Yes, so I was a banker for 20 years before I decided to become an entrepreneur. 7 of those years were actually at JP Morgan Chase. One of the biggest things that I had going into my entrepreneurial journey was a big background in banking.
So what advice are you giving business owners looking for financial backing today?
So Chase brings in so much knowledge and the opportunity to understand what financial tools are out there for business owners to build, grow, and scale their business. A lot of business owners will say, well, I need to get a loan immediately. Well, you wouldn't just lend money to your friend if you didn't know why they needed it. I tell every business owner, you need a business plan, you need financial projections, you need a banker. Because you have to start building a relationship with a banker so that they get comfortable with how you're going to build that business and so that they can eventually support you in different ways.
Makes sense. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we are discussing Russell Simmons.
Wussel.
Did I say Wussel?
I did.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I didn't say that, did I?
I said it.
Okay. What was that from? That was a joke in something, right? Or...
But I always call him. It was a joke in something. I don't remember what it was from, but I call him Wussel because one day Russie was saying something and he said it like that, and he was always funny to me. It was something from the show.
Little Run's House reference.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay. So Big Russ, Russell Simmons said, "It ruined my life. It ruined my relationships with everything. All my 5 charities have gone down." He said that he slept with thousands of people. It says people. Over the years. I was in so many compromising situations that people can have recollection from 30 or 40 years ago. And it can be different from my recollection. He said that he's undergone 9 lie detector tests, and they came back, I guess, in agreement that he wasn't lying when he said he's never done that to anyone, including answering to each individual woman's accusation, right? We know lie detector tests are not admissible in court generally, right? And we know there are ways that you can work around them. But I do think that it brings up an interesting point, because he very much could believe that and not see it in the same way that the individual does. And so...
Or it could very well be a shakedown. Because if people are, as we've talked about before, they love a reference, who's to say that you don't love a reference? A referral in a nefarious sense.
True.
Because people have nasty intentions.
I mean, think about, we talked about a few weeks ago, I'm not sure if you were here that night, the pitcher for the Dodgers, Trevor, I'm blanking on his last name, but he was accused of sexual assault. The young lady accused him of, choking her out and just being way too much, right? Well, in discovery, they found text messages with her and her friend like, yep, just met this one. Need daddy to choke me out so I can get the dollars. Stuff like that.
Yes, nefarious intention. So, and what was so interesting, what made me say that was in his response was, I forgot what it was, but it just made me think about, like, okay, let's just, because, here's the thing. Oh, he said compromising, I guess position. So you've slept with thousands of people, and just think about it. You're a celebrity, the groupie element,
Yeah, no, I mean,
sure, all these
both
factors,
sides,
yes,
yeah.
all of it. So I'm just thinking, and honestly, in my personal opinion, whatever, do I think Russell Simmons is? No, I don't. He doesn't really strike me as a creep like that. That's preying on people. However, it gets a little interesting when you've got the same girl, digging out two different accusations against two different powerful men. So, like, what's really going on here? And not to discredit her, but again, because we have this environment where things have been a little, not kosher and sick all this time. So this is a product of that sick environment. What are we looking at here? And do we, like, how do we really, analyze it and talk about it? But you really can't unless you've, been there and in it, really. So it's kind of hard, and we know all these things are coming out. We've got, all these, everything's coming out at this point. It's like the year of exposure. It's been that for the last couple of years, but at what point do we ask people to have honest conversations about the part that they played in this?
I mean,
and that's not victim shaming, because I've been in that position before. So, it's like, again, know when to leave the party. Is this one drink or a whole bottle of wine? What are we talking here?
I mean, I agree. As I said, and again, part of that, I came up through the music industry, so I saw a lot. I had a lot of conversations. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that that I didn't see any women that were, like, oh, somebody's messing with her, and the fallout and ramifications. What I can say is, I don't think, I have to double check this, but I don't believe that I worked for a company that did not have some type of either settlement or lawsuit that involved, some type of sexual misconduct between someone. And I think that is one of the, I don't think it just is entertainment, but certainly entertainment lends itself that there are going to be scenarios that come up that you are introduced to a lot of different things. And Russell even says, and I'm going to read this from Russell, and then we have a phone call, so we'll take our phone call. He said that the reason why the number is so extreme as far as the number of sexual partners he's had was in part due to the climate at the time. I think that the culture and the climate was different, and the way people interacted was different. I think to judge 30, 40 years ago as if it were today, we get in trouble. And we have to accept where we were and move on and be somewhere else in the future. And if we don't like where we were, I think that's what we're doing now. And I think that's the good that comes with Me Too. And I agree with that, and I feel that. But people will not allow him to say that. And
not from his standpoint.
Huh?
I said not from his standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's not allowed to say that.
But who better else to say it than a person who's dealt with it and been in it and has been on the receiving end of it? Like, let's have a real conversation. Like, what was the climate like? What did you do? Because that's the only way that we're going to get to the bottom of it, is if somebody just come and just gap it wide open and say what it is, and no one wants to do that.
I mean, well, we're seeing those conversations on YouTube, and we'll get into that next hour. We'll talk about that in a minute. We have Fahima on the line from DC.
Fahima, one of my favorites,
Happy
DC.
Wednesday.
Let me say hi now, okay? Hi, Fahima.
Greetings, Trent. How you doing, son?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. So I just want to make 2 points and then a comment. First off, Drew Dixon and Jenny Lumet, the daughter of the former mayor of the District of Columbia and the granddaughter of Lena Horne. Mm-hmm. Neither one of them, I'm sure, was on the take looking for a come-up from Russell Simmons. The other thing is, Russell Simmons says he never forced anyone he was in a relationship with. Well, neither one of them claimed to have been in a relationship with him. So if he takes a lie detector test and declares, I've never forced myself on anyone that I was in a relationship with, well, he wasn't in a relationship. None of those two women never claimed to be in a relationship with him.
I mean, that is very fair.
Trick response.
Pardon me?
Trick response.
It could be. I'm not, the language could be tricky. What I will say is, and I say this across the board, because just like we say that, Darren Sharper, football player who was drugging women and forcibly raping them, right? People were like, he was an attractive man, right? Wealthy. Why would he didn't have to do that, but he got off on the power, right? So by that same and I'm not saying that Jenny or Drew, I'm taking this off of them, but what I am saying is that just because you are related to a wealthy or a high profile individual does not mean that you can't be, and again, this is not about Drew or Jenny. I want to be clear with that. But I have seen people that are descendants from, celebrities that are still shiesty, and you would be surprised. And that's why it's just careful. Context is very important. That's why for me, one of the things that I implore is get it to trial if possible, so that those things can be relayed out in open court, and that those discussions, to your point, can be had. Just because what Trent brought up is, what were the times like? I know. I was there. I saw a lot of it, but my experience is my experience, and might not be what everyone else saw or what they expected. So share with the class, because times have changed. But the only way that we can move forward is if we kind of talk honestly about it. And I don't think that we do that now. And I also feel like we do women a disservice to act like they have no agency, or that they don't understand at times what is happening.
Well, I know you're at the top of the hour. I had a story, but I guess I'll share for another time because you're at the top of the hour.
You can hold on and come back once we get in there.
Sure.
Okay. So when we come forward, we're going to have Fahima's story. We're going to have more on this Russell Simmons topic and the new allegations against Diddy. Plus, catch you up on some other trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
When they finish, it look like the world end. I ain't asked for it, they did it to me. What? Exposing their hands for free. Get caught in the middle, that's bullseye. Get it too. You got hit, but we were targeting heat. Popping my with a capital P. SRT, red eye, red key. Might be ugly, but my pressure. Bad. She ain't even sneeze, but still I bless her. I don't like nobody. We can get gangster, we can keep it cordial. How you want to go back? I don't backtrack, man. That I don't miss nobody.